right, boys.
What episode we on?
10.
We missed last week.
We did miss last
Yeah.
week.
I'm a little bummed, but two wins in a row.
So
Two
you're
wins in a row, and just the last one too. Did you feel? I mean, a win's a win. You're gonna take the win, but still sort of that Tottenham we've seen the last couple of weeks.
is there a question in there?
No, that was a statement.
Oh, started
Yeah,
as a question.
I was wondering too.
No, I just wanted.
Ah,
It was such a refreshing day today.
so good. They looked so good. And even the first half, I don't know how we want to structure this, but I mean, even the first half, I know that people are going to be disappointed and like it may look a little bit like last week, and but I feel like I think about like when I watched Man City today and Man City last week, they struggle to break down that low block or that
Mhm.
low whatever the parking the bus is. They may look a little bit more dynamic. Maybe the passes are a little more like, I don't know, connective, but they still tend not to score early. And it's not unlike what we're going through. I mean, it's the same thing, but
Yeah.
yet we have such negative reaction to those. They're probing, they're challenging, they're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. But because there's no goal in the first half. To me, I really am having an issue with like reactions to the way we play. I mean, I think the result is the result of the way we play. It's like you're causing so much issue. You're causing so many challenges with, defending, and that ultimately teams just kind of break down and wear down.
Yeah. I thought the first half was good. I
It
thought
was great.
I thought
I loved it.
just the energy. There was a difference, and I don't know if you boys felt this way, but I still felt like they wanted it more in the first half. I saw there a greater desire from our starting 11 that I've been missing the last couple of weeks.
See, that's the thing. I don't
Well,
really feel like it wasn't missing the last couple of weeks. I feel like it's there.
yeah, I don't know about that, but
Uh,
I just I
maybe
thought
I maybe
I
I'm
thought it was
rose-colored glasses. I don't know, but I don't feel like when you possess the ball 70% of the time, and teams are relying on, counter, which Aston Villa did today. I felt like they changed their whole system. I think they would have been happy with a draw. I think that's what
oh
they were
yeah.
playing for. And to me, they got it all wrong. But
Well, so this is where I don't really know soccer. We're talking about this low block. It's like they're sort of not allowed. It's not sort of super spread out. It seems like whenever we struggle, it's everybody is inside the box and we can't get it around. I felt like Aston Villa sort of spread their defense out a little bit, which allowed us sort of to make some of these runs that we haven't been able to make. Makes the cross a little bit easier. Even some of these cuts into the inside and it to the top of the box. I thought that the way that we maneuver the ball in sort of our offensive fourth today, um, just looked a little bit more positive.
I
Uh,
I totally agree with that. And I think when you say that, my mind immediately goes to Brennan Johnson. Like I felt like he was cooking defenders on that far side and getting that ball into the middle, but moving forward. Whereas past weeks, like maybe he tried and didn't get past a defender or just sort of went backwards. I felt like, especially in that first half, there were like 3 or 4 moments where it was like one touch and he was past the defender, and you're right, it did feel less condensed and more opened up in that back four.
I think that's a good observation. I think that's accurate. I think a lot of what was happening was in the midfield. I think it was very congested there. And I think it opened up some of those channels for the wide men to make an impact. So yeah, it was just a weird. I think people are trying to figure out how to play us.
Yeah.
I think the effective way is that whatever, parking the bus. Like, I don't know. I feel like the teams that do that against us tend to do better and just like, play defense, play that first half, kind of make it very difficult for us to make that perfect pass or the perfect, like, whatever, because that seems to be what we try to do.
Mhm.
But ultimately, again, it seems to come down to we're wearing them down. They get
Yeah.
tired. You can't defend like that for 90 minutes.
No, and that's really not Aston Villa's
It's
go-to.
not their
I
game.
mean, that's so which is I think benefited us today too, is being able to just take it to them. But you talked about the middle. What did you think about our three boys in the middle today? Madison and Basuma.
Basuma, I think
Are
he's coming back into that, like, the what he was in the first, 5 or 6, 7 games of the year. I think he's coming back into being super, like, just imposing himself. He did have a moment in the first half where I'm like, oh God, that pass was
That
so
pass.
bad.
I
But
let me I'm gonna this is one of like a I don't know how to say this, like a dadism, but I remember it brought me like Kyle Walker sort of flashbacks where you every game you're like he's gonna do something. He's gonna have
he
one
will do something.
error that's going to absolutely destroy our team.
He
And
always
that's what
did.
and that's what Basuma's doing though. I mean it's these he sort of was able to boss. Like I watching him sort of back. I don't know how that works in soccer, but he was almost like backing players down. He's really good at controlling the ball and holding up play. But his passing just got to be sharper.
Crisper. He
Yeah.
needs to. I'm not sure how, like, smart he is, like football smart. Like, I just wonder sometimes. It's like, dude, that ball. I don't know what he was thinking.
Well, I don't
And
know
it's
what
yeah,
that's the
and
thing.
it's not even like generally his passing. It's his passing in very important parts of the field.
Yeah,
It
Right?
feels like
yeah,
it's like what do you do? What were you
yeah.
thinking? I mean, it was in front of the goal. I mean, or right in the center of the field. He had options. It wasn't like he had to go
Right.
there.
But I will say, other than that, I felt he played great today. That's exactly what I want to see him do. But
Mhm.
like these moments of, you're right. It does bring me back to
It
Kyle
was just
Walker
like
a little bit.
I felt like I'd be like, oh, I watched a game and like, yeah, Kyle Walker was, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm just waiting for that. I
He
told you.
makes a
I
he
told
makes a
you.
he makes a back pass that doesn't get back to the keeper. It just too
Right.
soft, and then the
Doesn't help that your
forward
keeper's
player
also
picks
illegal
it
to beat.
off, and um. But
But then
yeah,
you
I
star so Basuma, other than that error,
played great.
there were a couple other like again iffy passes where it made it, but it was like you needed a little bit more onto it in order to
Yeah,
make
I,
that
I'm
into
I'm I'm
something a
happy
little
with
bit.
that just because I think he's just so strong on the ball.
Yeah, and I thought sort of his ability to mark and play defense today was also good. Uh Sar, he's so good.
So good.
I just love
So good.
he's sort of like and
He brings a smile to my face every time he touches the ball. I just like it's joyful and joyous. He's
he's
he's this 20-year-old kid that's playing like a kid, but playing like a man at the same time.
his stride is so long. It's like
It's so
watching him
long.
go forward sometimes is like watching Mickey Van de Ven go to the back. Like they just have the ability to get to the ball because let me take 4 steps in the 12 that it took the other guy. I mean, it's just so, and he's strong too. He's skinny, and you sort of expect him to get pushed off the ball, but he's he's strong. Like
Yeah.
he's
The way
Love
I
him.
think about Sarr and
Love
watching him
him.
play, it's like uh and maybe it's because I'm like high on running right now. But when you watch a Kenyan in the marathon, you're like, wow,
A little bit.
he was made to
A
do that.
little bit.
These Kenyans were made to run. I mean, they're making it look effortless. And that's how I feel watching him play soccer. It's like, God, this guy is exactly where he needs to
A
be.
little bit.
Yeah,
But he
I
still
love
kind
him.
of muscles up a little. I was a little worried. It seemed like he got hurt at the end or the end of the first half, and like he even stayed down when the whistle was blown at the first half. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm like, oh gosh, I hope he's not badly hurt. But I
Just
mean, he
catching
came out, he
some
was
air,
fine.
maybe. Yeah, taking a quick breather before he's got to get up. Go
Yeah.
listen to Big Ange's
Speaking of hurt,
halftime speech to where we want to come out and just immediately score 2 goals.
well, somebody I was watching another podcast after the game, and somebody's saying they hope there's no like doping scandal. Like he gives them some.
Halftime. Here's your oranges, kids. They're all laced with magic sauce.
Speaking of hurt, I hope Van de Ven is not hurt badly.
Yeah. I what'd you guys think of Dragushin?
I
Is it
think, given the
Dragusin?
conditions, given the circumstance that he had to come in on, I think he did great. It's weird because his whole like he's not as fast.
No.
He doesn't make the same sort of passes. His like mannerisms are very different. But like I thought he was effective. I think there were a couple of times where he got a little nervous and maybe a little careless, but I thought he was, given the fact that he only had like 10 minutes ever
Right.
in a
He kind
Tottenham.
of gives me like Christian Romero
He's on the
like
edge.
understudy. Like
Yeah.
it's like you're at a 7th or 8th grade play and like your star is a star and your understudy's not. But a lot of similar qualities. Like he's aggressive. He wants to hurt somebody, but then he just doesn't have it quite like Romero or Van de Ven.
He
And
also wants to play. I don't know if
maybe
you
that'll
saw any
come
of
with
this.
time. He's not gonna play. He's not gonna get any. This is what's gonna happen, right?
No, we're going to
You're
need
in a
him
slaughter.
because
You're either in a slaughter or somebody's gonna get hurt, and that's when he's got to step in. But
no,
he's
and
just
may have to step in for long periods of time. I mean, you
yeah,
absolutely have to have a guy like that, and he's got to get the minutes. So I'm very happy that it got them.
yeah. But he also had a
Um,
couple of weird. He had a couple of like
Weird touches, but then on
yeah,
the other hand, he had a couple really good blocks, and I mean,
yeah.
and he looks to get the ball forward, which I appreciated. He made
You
some.
have to. You're not gonna. I mean, if you're not gonna do that, you're not gonna see the field. That's
So
and
I
just
thought it
slop.
was. I thought he may have to play another game. May have to play against because who knows what Van de Ven. It definitely was a hamstring. I hope it's not serious.
Was it that slide? Was it just maybe a little
No,
pull?
I
Like
think
it was
no, because I
happened
think what was
earlier.
happening was Dragusin, from what I understand, was getting ready at halftime. He was
Oh, really?
actively warming up. So they obviously felt like something was going on. And then I think it just got to the point where like he did make kind of a sliding block and I forget what happened.
Yeah, that was at the
Uh,
beginning of the first or second half.
yeah. And I feel like at that point he was like, I really feel like I should come out.
And to me, when he went out, it wasn't, knock on wood, it wasn't excruciating pain like the first time. I mean, the
No.
first time you knew, you're like, okay, he's very, very hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
He
guess,
wasn't like screaming
yeah,
and
Right.
shining
And he
light.
walked off. He walked off and it didn't
but
look.
you can do that with a hamstring. It's not
Yeah,
like
but
you're
he didn't it wasn't like I don't know. I don't want to
Yeah. Yeah. Put
good
that out
vibes
there.
for Mickey VDV.
So where should we go from here? I mean, the game, great game. That was a huge, huge 3 points. We're
Yeah.
like so we have a game in hand. We're within 2 points of uh Aston Villa. We
It got the goal
play,
differential.
and the goal differential was huge.
Yeah.
Interesting game this afternoon. I don't know if you watched the Man City Liverpool game. Did we talk about that?
I
They
caught
ended up
bits and pieces of
tying
it. Yeah, was it 1-1 in the end or did they
1-1.
score a
So
couple more?
it's like now the Gooners are still in first place, which I don't think it won't remain that way, but
I don't know.
like
I caught some of them earlier and they looked pretty good.
they
I don't know
do.
to say that, but they did.
Um, but I think we have a lock on. I shouldn't say this, but like I
No.
think we have a lock on Champions League. spot.
Well, and I mean when does one find out who gets that extra Champions League spot?
I think it just, I don't know. It depend. I don't know quite. I'm
That
not sure exactly.
it's looking less and less likely that it's the Premier League that gets it. But
Anyway, we need, regardless of whether we get Champions League or not, we need Europe. We need, to be able to play a couple times a week and just get our.
yeah, but then you the announcers again, anti-Tottenham, hate Tottenham for whatever reason. I don't know if it was the second half when the excuses started coming off of their midweek game, and you can tell that they came out and had tired legs, and Tottenham not having any Europe or fresh, and they've got it's like.
But in a way,
But
it speaks to the difference between where Aston Villa is going and where we're going. We're building a squad. We're building a squad to be able to withstand those midweek games. Aston Villa is a good team. They're not a great team. They don't have the depth that is required of a team to go, to be playing 2 times a week. So on the one hand, I would say, yeah, I kind of agree with you. On the other hand, it's like maybe they're saying that they're just not built for that.
Yeah, either way, it's still anti-Tottenham, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Talking about, if Johnson was on the right, they would have been so much better because his left foot is just not any good. All right.
I know. I know.
Is
Yeah,
there
at the
meant
end
to
of the
be
day.
like unbiased in shouldn't there be like
But it doesn't feel that way at all. Like it
no,
feels
I
like
know. I
like
totally
between the
agree. I'm just
announcers,
saying.
between the refs, between everybody, it's like I don't want to play the woe is me card, but again, you've got is it our fault that we have a single penalty all year long? Is it like it's ridiculous.
Well, speaking of that, going back to the Crystal Palace game, that was a penalty
On Werner?
on Werner. It was a penalty. And I don't know how they spent like 2 seconds reviewing it. And I don't know how that happens. To me, that's just ridiculous. So, but we didn't need it, whatever. But it just, you're right. And there does seem to be a bit of a bias. Though there was no question today that we were the better team.
Well, and all right, so back to what about the red card? What about the red card in today's game? Do you
Oh,
are
100%
That
you
a red
was
card.
100%
naughty.
a red
I
card?
felt like
100% a red card.
that could have
Because
been so
That could have been
dangerous.
career ending.
well,
The way he
just
went in, it
seeing
was
some
just
of
lucky.
the messages on social media about I'm like seeing people calling out Udogi for getting up and wanting to fight, and then all of a sudden
Yeah,
going
well, that's
like,
what your reaction is to do that, but then yeah, it hurts. I mean,
pain sets
to
in
me,
after
that could
you.
have been career ending. And I love the way Johnson went after him. The
Yeah,
whole team went after him. I was like, perfect. Perfect reaction, but 100% a red card. There was no way you can go in like there, whether it's, there's no boot like coming up into the
right.
chin but like it was an intentional.
Yeah, when I saw it in real time, like, oh, that was a tough foul. And then when I saw it in slow motion, like that was a
Yeah.
blatant, like
Well,
bad foul.
Even the announcer in real time said, "Oh, that's not good," which I appreciated.
well, no, they did. Because I was watching it on my phone, couldn't hear what they were really saying, and then I watched it back, and you're right, they did sort of say like, yeah, no, that's bad. But then they sort of like, I don't want to say took it back, but they were like,
No.
oh, it's not as bad as I thought it was.
So again, in my opinion, he is a man among boys. That kid is a freaking beast.
He's
There
all
was
over
a-
the field.
He played a game.
People have had to have seen that, like all of you listeners out here. We don't have replays or anything, but there was a play that Matty Cash tried to take him down with, and he just floated right through the guy. I mean, it was like he tiptoed through the slide tackle that Matty Cash was trying to take him out on, and you just see Matty Cash sliding and like looking back, and Udogi going by him.
Speaking of Matty Cash, did you see
I didn't, and I was kind of looking for it. I
Yeah,
didn't.
it happened in like it was it was after the 90 minutes, but it was a little bit of a naughty slip, and Cash actually ended up kind of hobbling after it. But I was like, yeah.
No. And that was Bentancur that gave it to him, or
Oh
was it?
yeah, he laid it. I wish he laid him on it a little bit heavier, but he definitely laid one on.
Yeah. What'd you think of Bentancur's play today, boys?
Gave the ball away a little bit too
He
much.
was like 10 seconds too slow with everything that he was doing.
Yeah, but to his credit, he tried to make amends. I felt like every mistake he made, he
Yeah.
went after the mistake. So
What do you think?
I'm good with that.
What do you think, Sam?
Sorry, what was the question? I've got the Benson Curve file pulled up,
Oh,
so
can you
we
show
can.
it on?
I
Can you
can. This is on
share it?
Reddit. I don't think that there's going to be
Ah,
copyright.
good.
But what was the question? As I share
I
my
was
screen?
what did you think of Bentancur's play today?
Um, Middle of the road.
Mm.
Not great, not bad. It was fine.
I think it was sort of the pinnacle of the play today was where it was he was sitting at the top of the key and somebody tried to make a pass and he was make a pass to him and he was just caught watching, like
Yeah.
didn't see what was happening, and all of a
I
sudden,
just, yeah, I think that's part of the problem. He's just not up to the speed of the game yet,
yeah,
but
he
he'll
was
get
he was
there.
sitting in a good spot to be able to do something with it.
Yeah.
Just and then all of a sudden it was like you saw him, like it was like the actual, like, oh, I'm actually on the field playing. Like there was a legitimate reaction to
Are
that.
you playing it, Sam?
Yeah, I
Or
will.
Mm.
yeah, bitch,
Well, let me see that one more time.
cocksucker,
Let me,
fuck
let me
you,
see.
And he's giving high fives afterwards.
cocksucker,
Uh,
and then he kind of limps. Fuck you.
I like
I
the.
wish he'd done it a
I
little bit
like
harder, but
that's
yeah,
the top comment. Not hard enough.
yeah, yeah. Do we have to like shout out Betterman? I know you guys are watching right now, so
Well,
well
that's
done.
that was good.
Yeah. Somebody I heard Johnson gave him a little something something at some point too. I don't know.
Well, Johnson. So should
Let's talk
we?
about let's talk about Johnson.
So where should we go from here? Like
Good.
go
I
from
think
back to front. The carry out again. I love him. He's
yeah.
weird. He's a weirdo, but
Nice.
like I love him.
Okay, I got to go this route though. Like I would sort of associate weirdo with another keeper. Um,
Oh, not
Don't you
Everton. No,
dare! Don't you
don't you
dare do
dare.
it!
he's a
It's
weirdo.
a little bit.
Pickford is a
It's
weirdo.
not dissimilar.
No, Pickford's a weirdo. Like,
No,
Yeah,
and I
but
don't think
all
Vicario was
keepers are
on
weird.
what?
All keepers are weird. You have
No,
to be
you have to
weird.
be no weird is not the right. Like some sort of crazy. You have to be some sort of crazy to be a keeper.
he's Italian, so he gets a little bit more of a pass.
He is so good. He is if I was going to buy a jersey right now,
Yeah.
it would be either Vicario or Van de Ven.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I there's like I would also love a Udogi. I would
Yeah,
also love a Johnson.
Sar.
Like there's so many
How about
stars.
you,
I
Sam?
could go down the list and be like,
Yeah,
I
I'll
would
take
love.
that jersey. I'll take that
Yeah,
jersey.
thank you. They
Oh.
have another.
So let's start. I thought he had a great game. I mean, he didn't have a lot to do.
I
Like one
love.
shot on goal.
Is that all that it was?
Hmm.
Is that one that like he dove on top of when he got kicked in the back of the head or something? Like he had like then the back of his head was the injured part, but he
well,
went
no,
over it.
well,
Uh,
it was inadvertent. It was totally
yeah, no, I'm not
non-intentional. I
saying
mean, he just kind
it
of
was
came down with
malicious,
his
but it was that's I appreciated again the
yeah,
effort of him sort of
yeah.
putting himself on the line in order to
So
save.
great game. I think if we go to the back four, then I mean, freaking Romero is I don't know what we do without him. Honestly, he makes such a difference. He's such a like leader from not only example but also like he seems to have like developed this. he's not getting yellow cards. He's not being
No.
overly aggressive. He seems to really understand his the that we need him on the field. And I mean, he's everywhere. So he and Van de Ven are just like, they're developing this thing that's just crazy. But then you've got the two backs. When and this is not to disparage like Davies and
Royal.
Royale, but it makes such a difference when we have both Adagi and Poro in. I mean, they are the engine that really drives what Ange seems to be wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just my humble
I
opinion.
mean, yeah, you talk about Romero being everywhere. Those are two guys that are also everywhere at all times. Like Poro is always everywhere. He's always either hustling back to recover and does it successfully, or he's pushing forward and trying to get involved in the attack. I just love the way that they
And the
both
thing,
play, really.
and with that, I think what's really cool is that the Poro Decky relationship is becoming deadly. You know,
Yeah.
those two guys on that right wing are like developing a rapport that's creating, you know, I reconcile, or I recognize that oh, what's his name? What's Decky? What's his name again?
Kulusevski?
Kulusevski isn't necessarily scoring goals or like
Oh, he's doing a
providing
lot.
assists, but he's
Yeah.
doing so much more off the ball. And like he set up almost, I think like 3 of the 4 goals, I think he set up.
Yeah.
Like he made that pass uh to Sar. He like stops things, he stops movement, like in the, you know, his pressing creates a lot of issues that the opposing teams have. So like I'm super, you know, despite the fact that he's not scoring goals and getting assists, he's doing a lot of things that don't get necessarily recognized. But anyway,
No, no,
we've
I
got
don't know
the
why.
so we've
When
got
you
the
say this,
defense.
but when you talk about this partnership, I'm gonna go back to like WWF. And I don't know if I'm gonna get these inferences totally right, but like you've got Poro, he's a little bit silkier than Kulu is, and by a little, he's quite a bit silkier than Kulu is, and he's sort of this like Rey Mysterio kind of guy. And then you've got Kulusevski, who he's a muscler. He's got like he gives me sort of Brett the Hitman Hart. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about, but like he's just the way that he moves. One, he's always going, and two, like, similar to like Basuma, he's able to just like muscle up and like sort of like back people down. And so you've got this sort of like tandem of one silky guy and one guy who's willing to do a lot of that like brunt work. Um, and
My
I think
only my only
perfect.
issue is that I don't feel like he's not fast enough to like get into the box to score from.
You can only have, you can't be the perfect person, right?
Yeah.
You can only have certain attributes, and he
So
sacrifices some of that speed, but like
but there are instances where,
if he can get in front of somebody, he doesn't need the speed because he's going to be able to like
yeah, but there are instances where
muscle.
edge ball requires that cross, right? You like
Yeah.
it's coming from the left side, and I think there at one point, I think I forget if it was Brennan or I forget who was in at the time, but like Kulusevski just couldn't get there in time. I mean, the ball was perfect,
Yeah.
right across, right where they expected to be, and I'm sure they worked on it a lot, but he wasn't fast enough to get there to put the ball in, and it just kind of went wide.
But doesn't it have some
Um,
like, didn't they come out with some stats too that says he's like running the most among anybody in
yeah,
AP?
Yeah, it
The
was in
amount of
that
space.
I mean, but
that
that's not
Nash.
necessarily, you know, is it effective running? Is it, you know, you can
But
run
that's what I'm.
around a
But
lot, but
it's he's doing a lot of that, the smaller things that are going to help us be successful, in my opinion.
so
And I feel like some of those goals will come.
Sarr was awesome. Madison, I still like, despite the fact that he had the goal, I still feel like he's a little bit of you know, the fact that we haven't talked about him yet, I just don't,
I
he's not
my
invisible,
no.
but I feel like he's not imposing himself on the games as much as he was early in the season.
And I don't want to say anything negative really, but I just don't like how kind of naggy he is. I mean, he spends so much of the game in his head or in other people's head. It just seems like there's so much outside of the actual play that he's trying to manage and deal with and get calls and all these things. That it's like play, just come on and
Yeah,
don't get distracted by all this other stuff.
yeah.
But
I felt like the first
he's
half
okay.
he was playing too deep, and maybe that's by design. I will not pretend to understand the whole, you know, whatever goes into to designing the game plan, but I just feel like he's not really, like I said, imposing his, like, the first
No,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games of the year of the season, he was like dominant, and I don't feel that way.
I don't know. I see. I feel like a one reason that I don't talk about Madison maybe as much as the others is because he's unfortunately that guy that's doing what he's supposed to be doing or doing what
No, he's
he
the
needs to be
creator.
doing.
No, I disagree with that.
Man,
No,
I think that he's doing. I think he's the passes that he's making. Uh, Not all of them are totally successful, but I think that he's again that sort of creative person that we've been missing for a long time. And I'm not
yeah,
even going to say Christian Eriksen because I
but
don't think
saying
that's
that
true
he's
either.
doing
But
what he's supposed to be doing, that's like a utility player. He's not a utility player.
no, I
He
don't
is a
know.
creator.
100%, which is my expectation. He's doing what I'm expecting him to do, which is there's nothing. If I think of Sar, I'm thinking of this young guy who is like, man, it's exciting that he's in the EPL and he's in the starting lineup and he's playing. And then you watch him and you're like, man, that guy's really good. So like, we're getting that expectation that Sar is a beast. You know about like sort of Romero, and again, you can say that Romero did great, but he's still not that person you're going to talk about when we start this podcast. There are certain players who you get excited about talking about, like a Johnson who has had some ups and downs, or he cost 60 million pounds, or whatever. But like he might be down this week and then have a fantastic game this week. Romero is going to consistently be solid. I think Madison is going to consistently be solid. Like
No,
it,
that's not what I expect from Madison. I expect magic for Madison,
I do too, but
not solid.
sometimes it's up to the other people as well in order to make that magic happen. And I'm seeing him attempt to at least sort of impose his creativity, which is something that again I
Yeah.
feel like we've been missing up until we've gotten the likes of him and Basuma um and Sar.
Sunny first half, okay. Second half, again, still sort of okay, but he ends up with 2 assists and a goal.
2 assists and a goal. Like this is uh, this has been my conundrum all sort of I guess the last couple of weeks is because we talk about him and when the team's down and he's down, it's like like son, like you could take him out or whatever. But like you look at his numbers and he's consistently putting up stats.
And
Like
that goal, it's like it looks easy, but I'm sure it isn't. I mean, I haven't, no, I obviously never played the game or never played certainly at that level, but it's like his technique is so good that you sort of expect
which goal are we
it,
talking about?
it
Are we
to
talking about Crystal Palace's goal or are we talking about today's goal?
today's
Same
goal.
thing. Same thing, right?
I mean, it's the same sort of thing.
You see Werner go down, you're like, oh crap. Make it, please make it. And then he doesn't. And you see Son,
Werner,
you're like, Son, you got this. And he does.
I love Werner. I love Johnson. And I felt they both played an instrumental part in the win today. Johnson was, if not
Not
the man of the
instrumental.
match
Not
for me,
instrumental. Johnson had an instrumental role. Werner
yeah,
came in and did what he was, but not instrumental. Putting up the fourth goal in the 90 something minute after coming on a couple minutes earlier is not, I don't think, instrumental.
maybe not maybe instrumental from his perspective isn't the right word, but he
Yeah,
definitely kept the pressure on.
for
And
sure.
so in that sense, like if you want to say that, maybe this is part of, going back to this kind of the game plan that, Ange is not going to, he's not going to, like, you go up 2-0, you're down, the other team is down to 10 men, he's not going to sit back and just sort of like play defense. He's going to continue to push forward. And from that perspective, Johnson was instrumental in making sure that we continued with Ange's plan, and
Mhm.
ultimately came up with a good goal.
Great goal.
Very tough take too. I mean, it wasn't a tap in. I mean, he
No.
he opened his hips up, he opened his body up, and it went into the. It wasn't. I thought it was a great goal. I think he's.
Top bins.
I think I
It's the one
love
that
him.
if you're out of
It's
form,
one that he would have missed.
yeah, you're gonna put over the net. Yeah, for sure. No, Johnson, I thought he was awesome all game, working the sides, and again, he's got that sort of like he was passionate today, and it was it's that game that we've been when your subs are coming on and they're feeling good about coming on, like it was a good vibe, especially that second half, sort of all the way through.
And Johnson's interview after the game, I thought was kind of telling too, because he talked about, he thanked the fans that stood with him, that stay with him, because I think he's been getting a lot of shtick, like whatever he costs.
Yeah,
whatever.
because it's
But
his.
like the people are expecting so much of him, but he's like, "Thank you for staying with me. I want to do more," and so I thought that was pretty telling.
Yeah. No, he was. Yeah, I thought he was very good. Uh,
So we're at what are we at, Sam?
It's probably like 40 minutes.
Who do we have next week? Fulham.
The end of April, early May, Tottenham is in a position to really shake this league up because we go, I guess this is the whole month of April. West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I mean, there's a
We
4 week
are
stretch there where it could really bamboozle this league.
100%. We're going to make we won't win the league, but we will definitely impact who does. 100%.
That'll be a fun
bold,
stretch.
bold statement.
We got to take care of Fulham and Luton Town in the
And
same way that
West
we
Ham,
took
like
down.
West Ham
Yeah,
again is another good team that you could potentially any of those teams you could bottle it to. You go in
Yeah.
with how you played today. We need to have some of these Arsenal, Southampton, or Sheffield United games where you're just like, all right,
yeah.
we're up early. Let's now just unleash some of the young kids and see if we can keep it going. But I mean,
Today was great. I mean, my phone was telling me, "Are you okay? Have you fallen?" No,
yeah,
I'm fine.
No, I'm just watching Tottenham.
it's you should just have like a block on your alarm anytime Tottenham play. But no, it again, it's been that sort of game that I felt like we've needed for a while. You still like to have maybe some first half goals, but it was awesome. What do you think about with a healthy Richie? Does that shake things up, or do you keep playing sort of? I think this is probably my go-to squad the way we started today.
I think it depends on who you're playing. I think if you're playing somebody that's going to be more like parking the bus type, I
Yeah.
think you have to have Richie in. On the other
Why?
hand, because I think he gives a target for, just something that can kind of pop up behind that line and offer something to shoot at. But like if you're gonna be playing somebody that's gonna want to play, like today, you would have thought they would, though on in retrospect, I sort of felt like Villa was falling into that. They seem to recognize, teams are recognizing the struggle that we have breaking down that bus. And I felt like at times that's what Villa was doing. But I think the teams that play more open, I would definitely play Sonny.
Mm.
um, the block is a little bit different. I don't know what you call it, the parking the bus or whatever, but like I haven't watched a lot of Fulham, so I don't know really how they play, but I can think of games that we have coming up, like even Luton. I mean, they're pretty open. They're not going to park the
Right.
bus. So I would I guess I feel like probably Sonny.
Yeah. No.
And the thing about Sonny is he presses so quickly, you know, and I respect that about Richie's game as well. But like Sonny just goes after it. Like it seems like he's sprinting at every, like he's sprinting at the keeper. He's sprinting at, that last defender. And Richie, he may be going that fast, but he doesn't look like, he looks more
Yeah.
like he's loping.
So do you think then Richie's done playing on like a winger type
Well,
position?
no, I'm not. No, I think in that from that perspective, I think if you look at like teams that will play open, I think Richie could be effective, on the left hand side.
So then you take out Johnson or do you take out Kulu?
I mean, that's the thing. That's a great thing about what we have going around right now is there are options. You can you he. That's the thing. Now, Postekoglu has all these options. Like Johnson can play on the left. Uh, Werner can play on the left. Johnson can play on the right. Kulusevski can play on the right. You could bring in Johnson on the right. I mean, there are so many, permutation that I think this is what he really wants.
Yeah.
The ability to kind of mix and match and, play to opponent's strengths and weaknesses. And it's the perfect storm. What do we need? In your opinion, what do we need in the
Positionally?
summer? In the summer, we probably need cover for Poro and Udogi,
Yeah. No, for sure you need somebody
and you
that's
need
gonna
some.
be
Do we
comparable.
do we need a striker? Do we need
Yeah.
some like speedster? Do we need like
I don't know, and it also depends on what you sort of decide. I think what you can do with Werner. I think
keep him 100%. There is no question in my mind for 15 million. What are you going to get for
what
15?
his option to buy would be 15 million. Like
Yeah,
I don't know what it
yeah, it's it. 15 mil. What are you going to
right.
get
So
for
then but
that?
then are you playing that I don't disagree with you, but like are you settling?
No, you're not settling, but how would that be to have that kind of threat coming off of the
Yeah, and I
bench?
guess it depends too for me how
A
Werner sort
hundred
of
percent. He
finishes
is he
out.
is on my team next year.
Yeah. And he seems to be so far sort of like gelling into the
And people seem to
Postecoglou
like him. I
scheme.
apparently he's very likable. But
Yeah, he's just got to this the confidence has got to continue to grow.
and it will. And I think that's
Um,
he scored 2 goals and two and two.
yeah,
And I think he's been responsible for 5 or 6 goals he's only played 5 or 6 games. So you figure a goal influence every game since he's come here. I mean,
yeah,
what more could you ask?
yeah. No,
I love Johnson. I love Brennan Johnson though. I think he's just gonna be like huge.
Dele Alli.
No, no, they're different players. There's a different sort of ego. Brennan Johnson is he wants to score, he wants to do more, but he also feels it's not all about him. I think Dele Alli was a little bit
Even
all about
in
him.
even in the earlier days too, you think?
Yeah, I think Dele is it's all about him.
Okay. Um, Here, all right. You can take one guy from Aston Villa. Who do you take?
Watkins.
Yeah, that's who I would take too.
I mean,
They got a couple of
well,
good players on
I
that.
do like Bailey. I think he's extremely dangerous, but he kind of comes in and out of games. But
Yeah,
I mean, Watkins.
yeah. I feel like they've got a bunch of guys that we've all like we
Uh,
would all be looking at or
who is number
Pau
6?
Torres
Ruiz.
or
Ruiz.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd take him too. The two of those.
Any thoughts, opinions, Sam, after watching today, or who you would take from that team? Because after watching
No,
today, like you're not gonna watch that game today and be like, let me have Ollie Watkins. We shut him down, I thought.
Shut him down.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
thought.
also the way Villa set up, which I'm not sure I agree with Emery's tactics. I think I would have liked to have seen more like what they typically play. But I feel again, it goes back to like he would have been happy with a draw. And when it was apparent he wasn't going to get it, everything kind of fell apart.
All right, you have Emi Martinez and Vicario at the same exact price. Who are you taking?
Ario.
He just said he's
Not
going to buy a jersey and never take it off.
not a World Cup winning goalie.
That and Martinez he's a showboater, way inflate his ego is so like he's
And
not
again,
that good.
as a keeper, you have to have that. I don't know. I mean,
I
how
mean,
many?
he's good. He's good.
Yeah, you can't
But
not
like
be and then be a
Vicario
World Cup.
100% every day.
Yeah, and he's not even Italy's starting keeper.
He will be soon.
Well, that's just because the older one's getting older.
Exactly.
No, but it's not like he's. I mean, you're winning the spot. Yeah, you're right. No, I would also like Vic. I think he's. I love.
So who
weirdness.
on here's who on our squad makes the first team at Man City?
Makes the starting 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, the starting 11.
Yeah,
Van de Ven.
probably.
No, I don't know if in a
Oh
Pep
yeah.
Guardiola system.
No, 100%. Van de Ven. That was my
Who's
first name
who's
too.
who's Van de Ven's counterpart on Man City?
Well, you've got, I mean, they rotate their squad so much, but you've got like Diaz, you've got Ake,
I'd
you've
take him over
got,
Ake any day.
yeah.
Yeah. Who? I feel like if I were if it was a Pep Guardiola and there was and he was like I could take anybody from Tottenham. I think
I'm
he'd take Sar.
saying who's, huh?
I think Pep would take Sar.
Yeah, Sar.
I think that would be his give me that boy.
Sar and Van de Ven?
I, I don't know why you would. I mean, you would take all those guys. He would like again. A James Madison would fit into that system. You're gonna take a Romero.
No,
These are guys.
maybe.
But the question was, I thought your question was starting 11, and
Yeah.
there's not a lot of guys that are gonna head into the starting 11 on a in that squad that they've got. I mean, they're Man City for a reason. It'd be hard for our guys to make that team. Maybe it is a van. I mean, I don't know.
What about you,
Son?
Sam?
Like a son? I mean,
I
who's
said
not gonna
Van de
be a
Ven.
son?
Yeah. Son, but where does Sonny play in that line? I mean, it's weird to think about, but like,
You'd probably play him on that left, probably that sort of similar position that not today, but that he's been playing when Richie's up top. Because you're not gonna, if you have Holland up top, you're not gonna.
and
Take
Holland did nothing today. He struggled.
It's because he doesn't have Son on his side.
Anyway, what do we think? Wrap it up?
Yeah,
Next
good
week.
win.
Good win. So good.
Needed and like a positive win.
And we have a game in hand. We're 2 points behind Villa.
When do we play Fulham? What
Next week.
is it Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
What time?
It was like noon, 12:30.
Dance competitions.
All right, that's a
Boys.
wrap.
So how do I get rid of my back?